everybody. YouTube, how are you? Twitter, how are you? Facebook. Everyone's here. It's about 3 o'clock, so that's how are you, folks? Let's, as usual, make sure we have. I can see the comments on Twitter, Twitch, and last but not least, Facebook. Twitter, Twitch, there we go. A bit of a delay. We've got the clock ticking over there. The little synthesis clock. Let's turn that off. This is just an audio test, folks. Dan K. Fozzie, what's up, bro? Just making sure all the feedback is working. How are you today? All right, we know that works. What do we have going on here? Eric Schultz, how are you? We have, I got my little performance space happening, so I've got a few cameras on, Eric. And, is this what space smells like? Appropriately enough, I'm drinking my tea out of a Star Trek mug. Nick LaQualia is here. What's up, buddy? Yeah, here, check out my mug. I mean, come on. That's as dorky as it gets. Or at least it's a contender. But, more and more, I switch everything around here for my various things that I'm doing. But more and more, I'm just leaving them the way they are. I was doing a synth workshop on Saturday, and so we have this little setup going. So that's what's going on, folks. It's just kind of, I'm letting my worlds collide. That's all. Letting my worlds collide. The synthesis world and the kind of natural food world. TOS over TNG. Tip over sleeve. Wait, what's TNG mean again? What's TNG in audio? Oh, the new generation. Right. See that, Zach? I saw TOS and I was like, oh, tip over sleeve? Is that a jack kind of a thing? Zach, you're awesome. I mentioned you the other day in my synth class, which I'm going to talk about a little bit today. So this sounds like any sci-fi movie, right? Where I don't know. This is kind of I might have to start eating my synths when I look at my bank account versus the bills. And yes, I may have to eat these. And you know, some of them have enough silicon in them. Zach, yes, I did figure that out. The original series, Next Generation. You're great, man. You know what? My answer is simple. I love it all. I love the whole universe. I love Next Generation. Love Deep Space Nine. In fact, I know Scott Fisher, who's right here, started watching Deep Space Nine and loves it. I love it all. The recent one with Scott Bakula, I have to warm up to that. I've only seen one or two episodes. It was pretty bad, but I want to give a chance. I want to give some love. Let me get back on camera here. I want to give some love to that new one, whatever it's called, with Scott Bakula. Not to be confused with mid-70s movie Blackula. But Scott Bakula as the captain. It's a little... just saw some bad episodes. So, but I love the whole thing, the whole universe, the whole concept, the whole egalitarian, forward-looking thing, the nerdy stuff, the sci-fi stuff, the blinking lights. I mean, yeah, you know, that's kind of what happened, is watching like Uhuru and, I forget who was the next generation science, 7 of 9, of course, and of course Zulu and all the people in the original one, but lots of gadgets and lights. And one of the first apps I ever got on my first iPhone was the Star Trek communicator. Oh man, had all the sounds in it. You hit a button and it would appear to flip open. So but right now, and I'll get rid of this beeping, don't worry. But right now, this sounds like any sci-fi movie when they've hit the self-destruct button, and it's all gonna, it's gonna go down. And this is the clock counting down. Counting down the self-destruct, So I thought this was funny too. Let's pull this up. Let me see if I can share this. Let's see. Right. How are you, folks? What is up for you on Plant-Based Monday? And I wanted to highlight a few things today. It's 1 week to spring, 6 days to spring. And I thought we would talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about growing some things and some hitting the ground running. So yeah, this meme was really cool. Did y'all see this one? I thought that was great. The Star Trek, any fans of Star Trek know that you've got the red shirt guys and gals. Oh, it's never going to be good when they land on that planet. And it's, whoever's got a red shirt never makes it back off the planet. Even though the planet has, strangely enough, oxygen and close enough to 9.6 meters per second squared directed inward of a gravity metric. Strange, right? That was one of the funny things about the show. They just lucked out so many times on atmospheric pressure, on gravity, and on oxygen. It's awesome. But whoever had the red shirt was fucked. So I think this was a great meme, I don't even have to explain it, but look at that. That is fucking hilarious. You got the guy from Texas in the red, and and the rest of them. So okay, well let's see who's saying hello. Thanks for stopping by. I will be here every week around 3:00, and 3:00 ET CPT. Yes, Scott, you thought of the toss link. Of course, you've got your Studio Tan all year, man. Theme song to Enterprise is so lame. Yeah, I haven't zoomed in on that. Hey, Ryan Walsh, what's up, man? Deep Space Nine, your personal favorite? Yeah, I love them all. Yeah, all Class M planets. Just what are the odds? Well, one of the things I'm always ready to give thanks to Jerry Ryan, because without her, we wouldn't have had, for better or worse. I know some of you probably don't like him all that much, but President Obama, certainly in hindsight, you really can't complain. Whatever crooked banking shit he let in, and whatever drones and extrajudicial zoomings to Guantanamo, all that seems like child's play after these 4 years. But I always want to give a shout out to 7 of 9. Remember 7 of 9, Jerry Ryan? Because do you know that thanks to her, thanks to her, President Obama won? I'm not kidding. People go, oh man, what kind of twisted shit is he talking about? No, it's true. 7 of 9, Jerry Ryan was, her husband was running for office in Illinois. Scott knows this. You're from Illinois, Scott. Her husband, Ryan is the guy's name. There's Jerry Ryan. And it was running for Senate. Yeah, Ryan is his name. I forget his first name. What was that? That would have been the 2006 or 2004 Senate race. I don't know. Jack Ryan. So there we go. So Jack Ryan was running for Senate, and that's her husband, and they were going through a divorce. Yeah, there it is right there. And his, so they were going through a divorce, and these sealed custody documents, because it became public records, came out, and it turned out that this guy was pressuring Jerry Ryan to perform sexual acts in public, and to, threesomes and all kinds of kinky stuff. And hey, that's fine. Consenting adults. She was not into it. So anyway, their marriage blew up and blah, blah, blah. And they, this thing got all messy. And he was running, and let's see, was it 04? Yeah, 04, right. So the 04, Senate race. So he had to drop out. And this little-known congressman, Barack Obama, who we had all seen at the 04 DNC, he ended up just rocketing to the top of the polls. I mean, he was going to win all of a sudden because the Republican dropped out in June. Or even later, let's see. No, he withdrew in July 29th. So you're talking, what is that? August, September, October, 3 months and a few days till the election. This disaster. So the Republicans, because they don't see color at all, they got Alan Keyes as a replacement. Isn't that great? They looked and they said, well, there's a black guy. The Democrats have a black guy. So since we don't see color at all, we didn't even notice. We're gonna get Alan Keyes, this absolute fucking nutcase, to run against Barack Obama. You can't make this stuff up, folks. It's better than sci-fi. So this guy runs. Of course, he's a walking punchline. He moves to Illinois, quickly rents an apartment so he can have residency. And of course, Obama crushes this guy. And so, anyway, I know we're supposed to be talking about food. I know. But we also do wherever things take us. And where things have taken us, is just to give thanks to Jerry Ryan for that messy divorce, because it helped us get Barack Obama into the Senate, and then you know the rest. So there you have it, folks. Asymmetric, seemingly disconnected news stories. That's what we do here. And we've got a couple news stories about food and nutrition, and we're going to talk today. Let me give some overview stuff. I wanted to talk today about a few things. It's almost spring, as I said. 6 days. That's pretty cool. In the northern hemisphere. And I've got people who dial in from Australia, and I've had guests from Paraguay and Argentina. So let's not be hemisphere-centric. But we're about to hit the spring in our hemisphere, and we're really excited. We're sprouting a whole bunch of great stuff. We had some broccoli rabe for lunch and decided, oh my God, we got to grow broccoli rabe. We got to grow some arugula and some other hardy little greens. We had a great garden last year, and we're going to hit the ground running pretty soon. And we hope you do too. We've talked about this for months, folks, how advantageous it is to grow a couple things and make sure there's no audio leaking through. And here we go, It's a couple days away, and I'd like to urge you to just even if you grow just one thing, if you just grow some parsley, just if you're too busy, there's no time, there's no space, just get a little pot and buy some parsley. You can buy it ready growing. Just anything, folks, because having that chlorophyll energy in your home, in your space, is awesome. You will, especially parsley, you could take some and crush it up a little bit, nice aromatic sort of a thing. And then you could use it in soups and stews and stir fries and juices and parsley, sauces, everything. So set yourself that goal. Can't you grow one thing? And now also, it's like that butterfly wings effect. Whatever philosopher said that. You are removing a package of parsley being purchased in a plastic bag or whatever. You are taking one little bite out of parsley being driven from California to where you are. So we're going to grow a lot of stuff. And last year we grew parsley, 2 types, Italian and the curly. We grew thyme, lemon thyme or thyme. We grew 2 or 3 types of thyme, German thyme. We grew scallions, potatoes. Oh my God, nothing like potatoes you just grew. They were tiny, we're learning, but they were amazingly delicious. Amazing. We grew eggplants, lots of tomatoes, 4 types of cherry tomatoes, 5 types of hot peppers, jalapenos, red Thai chilies, ghost peppers. It has sweet pepper that we only got 1 or 2 from. Many other things I'm forgetting. And this is all Robin. When I say we, I did a little bit of the work, but she's really the green thumb. And I did a little bit of the stuff. I take care of the compost and getting the new soil and turning the soil and making sure we make our own soil. I moved here 14 years ago. She moved here about 4 years ago. I moved with my late partner, and we were both into green life, as a lot of people know. And so I've been composting for 14 years here. So we have an incredible mound of soil out back. So that's one of the things I want to do today. Encourage people to take advantage if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, or even if you're not. You could grow year round. But just having that growing mentality with the spring. So that's one thing. Another thing, as I always talk about, there's a couple of news items. Really cool news item about a new Amazon, as conflicted as I am about Amazon, there's a great, and this proves the point. They do so many fucked up things. They pay so little tax, but they're so great for so many millions of people who have Amazon stores set up. I have a couple of friends who are thriving, making a living through this portal, which is nearly free as these things go, setting up retail. You couldn't do what you get, right, for an Amazon store for 1/100th of the cost, right, if you were doing it brick and mortar with your own, so they're transforming things. But they have this great new plant-based cooking show. New day, new chef with, I forget her name. I think it's Jane Velez. We're going to talk about that. And we're talking about just some news items. I always love talking about the new foods that are coming out. And there's a couple cool new food items. It's great that every week I can't even keep up with the cool new stuff. Okay, so let's go to some of your comments and let's see, what did you have today to eat plant-based? And I'll share what I had. So you're right, Nick. It's a meatless recipe generator. Nick is ensconced. It's one of Nick's favorite words. I love that word. Nick is ensconced in his safe New Jersey cell. Would we call it a cell? That sounds a little negative. In his little space, and he's ordering vegetarian soup, and he's ordering, juices and all these things. Very proud of my pal. And Nick has been vegetarian, Nick, we got to have you on the show so we can just talk about our vegetarian journey for 30-some years based in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Because I was actually coming to visit you at your dorm room. I forget what's the dorm you lived in. Not the Frelinghuysen, the big one, but you were at another one on College Ave. And I was arriving, and there were some Hare Krishna guys out on the sidewalk, and they had a book called The Higher Taste, which I still have my copy. And I said, "Oh, what's this?" I gave them $1 for some little snack they had, and I was like reading this book, and wow, animals, right? They have souls, I bet. We're murdering these sentient, feeling beings. Wow, and it hit me. And I know, and someone's going to post that plants are sentient beings and they have feelings. And I know. That whole discussion is interesting too. But there's clearly a difference when animals bleed and run away and try to fight you back and have claws and fangs to protect them from you killing them. Yes, there's plants with thorns and poisonous compounds to kill you. There's all kinds of analogs. Believe me, I think about this a lot. But there's a clear difference when you look at peach trees, apple trees, peppers and tomatoes, and avocados and almonds and all these millions of plants that don't die when we eat them. They don't die at all. We're taking their ovaries or their seeds. We're taking their component that they biologically want us to spread. A plant's biological destiny is to reproduce itself, to clone itself as much as it can, and kind of diabolical. If they could take over the whole area, they'll do it, as you know, right? Weeds and things like kudzu and dandelion, all kinds of things, would rather take over the whole area if they could. So, very interesting. Once we start assigning kind of human characteristics to plants, it gets into quite a slippery slope. But clearly, here we are, 2021, environmentally, and in terms of getting a sustainable situation going. I think if we tick off staying local, growing as much of your own food as you can, getting as much of the rest of it as you can, really from a close proximity, 50-mile radius maybe, arbitrary number, but just, that's not far. And then being very selective about what you do get from somewhere else. I think those are kind of the building blocks to kind of crop rotation and maintaining our soil, our water supply, all that stuff. So here we are. Let's see. So, so Eric says, getting fancy with the cameras and the zooms and the well, yes, as I celebrate 1 year, I don't know if celebrate's the right word, but as I commemorate 1 year, I was always a gadget guy, always loved, I've always had, when they came out, I slowly got usually the mid-level digital camera and I like gadgets and stuff. I don't have to have the newest, hottest thing at all. I'm not that far. I have iPhone 6S. So for those of you, that are tech heads, I'm just a little distracted there because I got an email back from a very dear friend who's someone I'm trying to set up an interview with, rock and roll legend. Stay tuned. That's right. Another rock and roll legend who's going to be interviewed here. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. A 76-year-old legend. I don't want to get distracted, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. It's very special to hear from him, and I'm hoping he can still do do an interview. So those are some of the things, gadgets, as I'm saying, answering by way of answering Eric, that got me where I am now. So a year ago, as musicians, as creatives, our minds were blown. We were depressed. But then we segued, and I segued pretty quickly into, okay, look, what can we do with what we have? We have these internet connections to the world. We have a camera on our computer. I think I had at that point one of my cheesy, I think I spent $30 for a cheesy GoPro clone. Okay, and that's this one right here. Not bad, right? That's not horrible. It's a decent picture. It does what it needs to for $30 or something. And I started learning how to hook all this shit up. And those of you who have been around know that I started streaming just about a year ago about topics, and I came on and we talked about the virus, talked about this impending situation. And I'm really proud. Looking back, I found some of my notes the other day because I would sit there with a yellow legal pad, and I'm really proud to say that I could play those webcasts right now, and I'm really proud that it's spot on. And I'm not saying I told you so or something like that. Not at all. Just saying all you have to be is consistent and approach things from science and math and numbers. That's all. There's no magic trick. And 1 year ago, I remember I drew a little. I'm gonna have to recreate it here because it's upstairs. I drew a little thing. This is all my notes from my synth class. I drew a little thing, real time, and I said we could be. It was about end of February, early March, second week of March, right before lockdown. And I said we have two. Actually, it would be the other way around. Let's do. It depends philosophically which way you want to see this. So I've drawn this both ways. So I held up a little sign that said this. It had a scale. South Korea or Italy? And or do you want to go the other way? Italy to South Korea, whichever way you want to look at it, pro or con. But those are the ends of the spectrum a year ago. Remember that? Italy was a fucking nightmare, right? Every day we would hear these insane numbers, infections and deaths, everything rising exponentially, right? Just going up. And then, and South Korea, we're like, okay, that's just, wow. This country is a wonderland, as John Mayer would say. It was great, single digits of this and that, double digits of infections, and things would spike to 17 and things like that. We're like, wow. And we saw how they did it. They jumped on it right away, masks right away, mandates to stay home and get your food delivered, supporting that infrastructure of deliveries and all that. The government said, let's make sure that the delivery people have an optimum situation and that everyone is set up for this. They just went right into it. They took care of their elderly and more susceptible folks. I go like this because I'm elderly now. I'm 56. I'm at least solidly middle-aged. But the people with diabetes and obesity and whatever, the South Koreans jumped right on it. They also have incredible, comprehensive, universal health care. Yeah. So they were able. But I remember a year ago saying, which end, which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, boys? I said that. I said, where are we going to go, America? And at this point, we had Seattle numbers and just a little bit of New York numbers. And there was a smug vibe in the nation of like, it's never going to come here. Those are, there's liberals there. That's what some people said. And other people said, oh, that's far away, Seattle. It's never coming here. You know the rest, folks. 500,000 dead. And I remember saying then, it's going to come everywhere. Because planes are flying everywhere. And because if we're listening to these South Koreans and people in Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, where they're already seeing little numbers. Australia is one of the first ones to have that cruise ship, right? They were looking at this. And they were all kind of teaching us, guys, there's a 3-week lag time. Look out here. It hit us like a ton of bricks. There's a 3-week lag time. Round about that. With these infections and then... And I remember talking about it. And this all has to do with why we're here, natural foods. I remember encouraging people, as I still do, and as I do every week, and I need to convince myself, believe me, to support your immune system, right? To try to eat anti-inflammatory foods, to try to eat foods with living components in them, live foods, enzymatically rich foods. Vitamin C, which is so incredibly important to the human, all the systems of the human body, and to mammals in general, to other animals. Strangely enough, a lot of other animals make their own vitamin C. I forget which organ, but we don't, so we have to consume it. But I remember talking about that, just saying, hey man, I'd be getting a couple grams of vitamin C in me. I'd be looking at certain immune-enhancing herbs. I'd be looking at alkalizing my diet. I'd be looking at supporting my digestive system, which in turn supports your immune response. I talked about colloidal silver, which is a valuable thing. It kind of got spoiled along the way by the pillow guy and all that. But I remember, doing a laundry list. So as I look back over a year, and then soon after started this show, which I thank you for being here every week. And I'm happy to say that, all we needed to do was stay the fuck home. Not give this virus a chance to jump from host to host to host, which is what a virus, biologically, it's imperative. That's what it wants to do. I think this tea is strong enough. I'm a tea bag, leave it in kind of a guy. I like it to steep. And haven't had this in a while. Got some Twinings tea. Yeah, mate. Fancy a cuppa? Yeah. Yeah, it's the Queen's favourite. Because while it's a bit browner than the other teas, she's okay with it. If you know what I mean. Yeah. We can get into the royals a little later if you want. But, all right, let's go back to y'all. Let's see what's happening before I do my bad Luther. Hey! I do have the little slapback, Scott. I did notice that early on, and I haven't bothered to do anything about it. But let's see. Does that get rid of it? Hello? Yeah. Yep. You know what I think it is? I'm doing, Yep. I don't know. Did that get rid of it? Yeah, just, again, the way I have this place set up for performance versus doing this, there's a bunch of outputs happening at once. But let me know if it's still there. Robin is reminding me we had also, yes, that's right, cukes and cow horns. I'm the best composter. I'm trying. Oh my God. I said she's here 4 years. Yeah, 6 years. Hey, my love, my time is so bad. I look at things and I go, that was a decade ago? Okay, 6 years. Which, how can I spin that? That shows that it's been so wonderful that it feels like it's just a minute. It's just 4 years. But so, Andy Clark, what's up? How are you, my friend? That's right, Nick. You don't have scones. Okay, let's get to some food. Scott had a chopped salad. Trader Joe's Indian Fare. You love the Trader Joe's, and you should. It's awesome. I love it too. I guess they stopped short with an Indian name because remember they got in trouble with Trader Jose's and Trader Ming's for the Chinese dishes, and did they ever go with I don't know. I better just steer away here because people, Anyway, I thought that was cool when they had the culture-specific Trader Giotto for the Italian one. But yeah, I love their Indian stuff. Nick cannot recall the name of his own dorm. But I'm right, Nick? You lived in a different dorm on College Ave, like a 3-story kind of a place. Andy Clark had veggie sausage rolls. Yes, that counts, my man. England's just... I love England because England just rolled over all these traditional things like pasties and the morning, the full English. You can get those amazing bangers that are plant-based now for years. There's many ways to... And then the tomato and the onions and the mushrooms and the baked beans, all veg already. So I love that. The veggie sausage, that's awesome. And Benny Rodriguez, what's up, bro? Tra! Animals scream louder and kill than plants. There you go. Bassam is here to provide color commentary. You're right, bro. And again, I acknowledge that. I'm not here to say that plants are not sentient beings. But clearly there's a difference. We can't have it both ways. If we want to say, hey, there's nature, and plants give off, we can measure these, we can hook up sensors and measure stuff when they're being killed. If we're acknowledging science to prove that point, science also shows a wide variety of animals that run away or try to kill you back. So that, we have to acknowledge the spectrum there of stuff. So plants are complicated, yeah. Andy, that's great. Chicken every 2 weeks, 90% meat free. That's great. And you're not meeting anyone too. That's great. That's very funny. Wow, good to see you, my bro. Yes, and I see you. Maybe you're not here. It's 4 minutes ago, but really lovely to see you. I saw you in a picture actually about a week ago. That's wild. Hey, Steve Hershey, how are you, my man? How are you doing, Steve Hershey? Because you said you were slowly putting more plant-based food into your life. How has that been going? Well, let's see. Scott, if I get rid of... Let's see, does that work? That did it, right? Yeah. I can hear it. So, I'm doing so many things here, man. I don't want to bore people, but I'll do a quick... For the sake of the nerds out there. I've got a 12-channel board. And one of the stereo pairs is getting... Oh, my God. Is getting 12 other channels. So that makes it already 23 channels. Then another, or something like that. Did I screw that math up? And another one of the stereo pairs is getting another 12-channel board. So you got 12 and 12, 24, and another one, 36. So I've got 3 12-channel boards spitting their stereo mix into another 12-channel board. So that's 36 channels. And if I'm using up 6 of the other ones, that's 42 channels. I'm running 42 channel boards. 42 channels. So, excuse me for fucking it up sometimes. I love this because I used to do this as a kid. Just plug stuff in and see if it would work. So again, 3 12-channel boards going to another 12-channel board, giving me 42 channels. And here's the problem. It's not even a problem, but one of those stereo channels in the main board is the USB back from the computer. So that's all it was. When I have that up, which I need if I'm doing an interview, it feeds back around. So I got to solve that. There's probably some way to filter that out or noise gate it out. But anyway, I could just pull it away. So thank you. And that sounds like a lovely lunch, Scott. You thought those culture names were great. and some can be too sensitive. I know, dude. I know. We talk about it most days. This fucking oversensitive. And the scary part is you need to have a balance, though, right? As we say every day, you can't depict Asians and blacks and Jewish people and tribal native people the way that certain people wanted to and did for decades. That's not cool. So somehow balancing that line. Anyway, Sharon Rudolph, good afternoon. How are you? So let's keep talking about food. So thanks. Tell me what else you had. I've got Andy Clark's lunch, which sounds delicious. I love British vegetarianism. I know people think that's an oxymoron, but man, I tell you, when I arrive in England, first off, in the airport in England, there's Marks and Spencer. Do you all know that store? Marks and Spencer is a long-standing shop in England, and they used to be just clothing and homewares, but they have food in there now. And right in the airport, when you arrive in London, you're a tired plant-based traveler, you've just crossed the ocean, you walk right out, and there's all kinds of shops, perfume and expensive watches, and you name it, like any restaurant, like any airport. But there's Marks and Spencer. You can go right in. Oh man, hummus sandwich, a vegan pasty, a bag of crisps, apples, fresh fruit and whatever you like, apricots. So it's England is really great for vegans. The other thing that if Americans don't know, do Americans know what a pasty is? A pasty is this little kind of fold over, kind of like a samosa, kind of like a samosa, but it's, just almost every culture has a little, like an empanada, or let's see, in Italy it's stromboli, or there's a few things that Italian food have, but just some dough that you put some stuff in, you fold it over, bingo, right? Samosas, empanadas, and so Cornish pasties are like a delicacy if you ever go to England, and if you've never been, wow, nothing like incredible pasties. They're hot, they're steamy, they're they're hand food, right? You just pick them up, and you eat them on the run. You're walking, you're going. Let's see if we can get a good picture here. Yeah, that's good. So pasties, I'm sure you can picture them, and some of you have had them before. But thanks to Andy Clark, I'm now craving a pasty. There's a couple right there, and they're nicely, they get a nice char on them, and you could brush them obviously at some point with butter, but anything, any kind of a fat, olive oil or something, and they're baked, and you bite into those suckers, and it's, of course, the veg ones are peas and mushrooms and carrots and potatoes and a bit of spiced tomato or something. So that's a pasty, folks. If you've never had the joy of being in England, and they have these shops everywhere. It's just a little pie, yeah. So there you have it. So thank you, Andy Clark, for dropping in. What else did people eat? Oh, Scott Mulder's here. What's up, my bro? Hey, Nadia Henry's here. Nadia knows some good vegetarian food because, well, that's my cousin, one of my favorite cousins. Don't let the other ones know, but she's in the top. She's in the top 2 or 3. But hey, Nadia. But Nadia has taken me for some great veg food in Toronto. But also, Nadia, you grew up in Guyana and Trinidad, where we have whatever it is, a little over 50% Indian people. So the food, the curries, the greens, the things that we do with dal, right, and peas and vegetables. And yes, people eat their meat and they love their meat, but they don't have it 3 or 4 times a day, right? Like you find in the Western world. And it's funny, Caribbean people come here and start eating a lot more meat. Makes me crazy. Because then you go back to Jamaica, Trinidad, everywhere. You can't afford that. It's kind of a treat, right? Jerk chicken is the dinner dish, let's say. But during the day, some dal, vegetable soup, maybe some eggs or something, but bakes and, all these vegetables. So that's perfect timing to see you, Nadia, because I'm just talking about pasties, which in Jamaica, of course, they drop the S, as they drop many letters in Jamaican patois and slang, and they call them patties. Jamaican patty. See, that's where the S goes in Jamaican. They drop the S and it becomes. Did you know that, folks? That's the S. So the Jamaican patties, wow. They look exactly the same because you got to remember, a lot of these countries were colonized by the Brits, but specifically the Brits would send the people that the white people that they disliked the most, they would send them to the Caribbean. And it was who? The Scottish and the Irish. So if you go to Scotland and Ireland, you actually hear little basis of some of the accent of the islands. Anyway, on that note, here is a Jamaican patty. I did not know about this. They make it now with Beyond Meat. That's your classic Jamaican patty right there, folks. A little yellow in the crust from annatto, or, no food coloring usually. It's a plant-based ting. Wow, how exciting. I did not know this.
You've got to try Beyond Meat Patties, a Golden Crust original. Order online for fast delivery now.
That's it, huh? That was a quick little...
You've got to try Beyond Meat Patties, a Golden Crust original. Order online for fast delivery now.
Wow, that's got to be blow up. Because the thing about Jamaica, you got to understand, is there's a lot of ital, which means vital. It's short for vital. Ital is what the Rastas eat. So, wow, I didn't know that was out there. Golden Crust. And Golden Crust is like the traditional brand, too. But the Scots and the Welsh people brought that pasty idea down to Jamaica and other islands, and the Jamaicans adjusted it. So I'm gonna kind of dehydrated even though I'm drinking tea. So those are some delicious stuff, delicious items that I missed. There was someone selling some Jamaican patties locally, but Robin, are those still around? That local company? Okay, so let's keep going here. Nadia, what did you have for lunch today? Because Nadia's parents are mostly vegetarian, and I've had some amazing cooking from my aunt and uncle, who I love. Hope send them my love. Marks and Spencer's, you got your awesome booties. Oh, okay, that's cool, Sharon. Yes, they are fantastic, and they're right there in the airport, right? Yeah, Robin, it's Nadia. Scott Mulder, what'd you have, my bro? Carrot, apple, beet, cuke, lemon, ginger juice. Wow. You're on it, bro. I'm pledging, and today one of the other things I'm going to talk about, besides some little news items, is the two big things are spring and growing some food, and going a little more raw, because I need to go a little more raw. So dehydrated. But getting that juicer going, Scott. Thank you. You got to remind me of some cool recipes, but got to get the juicer going. I'm really, I've too much beer for a year. I'll leave it at that. All right. Food. Nick had a quick taco. Corn tortilla over flame. Nice. Kale, kidney beans, tomato. Look at you. Baked tofu and hot sauce. And no pizza. That's very good. That's right, Nadia. Doubles. Yum. Doubles from Trinidad. That's true. I miss doubles. And what's funny about doubles is you don't see them anywhere else. Right? I mean, you see them in Trinidad. But it's funny, they're not right next door in Guyana. They don't eat doubles. That's kind of strange. I love that, these territorial little things. And it's strange because other things appear in all the countries. Like dal is in both countries, and dal puri and roti is in both countries, and kalaloo is in both countries, or if not those two, then two other ones. But doubles, right? They just stay in Trinidad, and they're amazing. They're these tiny, tiny little discs of dough, folks. If you've never seen them, like an Indian chapati or a roti, if you want to picture that. And then they put just a little scoop of the curried, usually chickpeas, on top. And you have these little sauces you can see right there. One is a sweet, savory, kind of a tamarind sauce, and then a hot one. Oh, man, look at that, huh? And you just fold it over. Bam! Delicious meal. It's wrapped in that little paper. You get these on the street corner, man, in Trinidad. $1 for 3 or some, something like that. That looks like some kalaloo and what's that, rice or something with it? Who knows? Mushroom. There's some tamarind that they're making the sauce. So doubles. Yes. Most commonly eaten at breakfast and a late night snack. Yeah. You can get them with aloo, potato pie, baigani, which is eggplant fritter, and sahina, spinach fritter. So good. Yeah. I'm trying to get, there's this vegetarian restaurant in Guyana, and I've sent some messages. I want to get them on as an interview. Anyone that has friends that have restaurants, please connect me with them. Okay, so potato and chana curry. Is what you had today? Oh. The party was the pasty. Yeah, the patty is the pasty. Yeah. Right, they look exactly the same. Yeah. And it's the Scotch. I mean, it's the Scots and the Welsh. That's what's interesting. You study that history, that brutal fucking imperial English history, and they looked around and they said, right then, well, we won't be going to these messy tropical countries with flying insects. Let's send the Welsh. We don't quite like them. And also some Scots. We send some Scots and a few of those Irish. Send them down to Jamaica. Take care of the blacks. Yes. Send the profits home to Mummy. But especially the Welsh, just not keen on them at all. In fact, send the Welsh to Barbados because it's very bad there. And there you go. So if I'm telling you, go to Wales and Scotland, and the Scottish accent, if I can think of one, if you don't have it around by 5 o'clock, if you don't have that by 5 o'clock, you ain't gonna have it. Something like that. That was, if you don't have it by 5 o'clock, you ain't gonna have it. If you don't have it by 5 o'clock, you ain't gonna have it. And that's kind of like, there's a Barbadian accent, which I can't do really well either, but I don't know what's going to happen at 5 o'clock, but I'll tell you this. It's where African slaves learned English from Welsh and Irish and Scots mostly. So it's very interesting. And combine it with African dialects and different words came in. There were slang words. But I find that very interesting that, you hear that It's funny too, if you ever go to England, in Liverpool, the accent there is because a lot of Liverpool was the sailor, the sailors and the Navy set to port a lot of their ships from there, and a lot of the merchant ships and the merchant seamen came out of there, and so they were the ones going to a lot of these islands really early on. And again, you hear this accent thing. And Paul McCartney tells a story where for Obla Di Obla Da, right? Because Paul McCartney and all the guys grew up with a lot of Caribbean people, right? They had friends who were Jamaicans and Grenadians and, Trinidadians and Guyanese. It's very cool. And speaks to, I think, how cool the Beatles were on a lot of those issues. Remember? They came to the U.S. They would not play in segregated concert halls. Remember that? Or when Paul McCartney was watching the TV and saw the strife of the police, the dogs, and the rubber bullets and everything. But I remember him just interview with it, and he saw some things on some black women just persevering, surviving, pushing back, and I think it was the 3 or 4 black girls that survived the church bombing. I might be wrong on this. But he wrote it, Blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly. It's not about a bird. It's about black people, black women, flying, persevering from that fucking bullshit. Paul McCartney, love this man, always. And that's what he was talking about. And some of you are going, what? It's about a bird. No. In fact, very cool. About 5 years ago, he got together with the women in that song. Again, my memory, I think they were the ones in the church bombing. The Little Rock Nine, that's what it was. And he wrote that song. So anyway, my point there is that hats off to the Beatles by growing up in a diverse kind of environment of England. They were exposed to Caribbean culture. And Paul says in another interview, he goes, yeah, one of my friends, man, he was just really cool, man, and we would hang out. And I forget which island he was from, and Paul was like, yeah, and he never worried about anything, man. If anything went wrong, he would say, obla di, obla da, it's all gonna be fine. And if you think about that song, doom, 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 da 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 da, Bourdain, doom, 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 doom. I can't play it because I'll get a copyright thing, but island music. So hats off to some Brits for not worrying what color the baby's going to be and for just embracing the shit. So anyway, you can read this yourself, but there you go, Paul McCartney. And he, of course, I'm not going off track here because Paul McCartney is one of our most inspiring plant-based vegetarians, animal rights people. But there he is. He visited with 2 of the women from the Little Rock Nine, and they inspired that song. Yeah. Of course, Rolling Stone has the paywall, so I can't pull the story up. Yeah, but you get the point. You can find it yourself. But a lot of people don't realize that the song is about racism. Yeah, there you go. Paul McCartney. He saw this on TV. Isn't that funny? I didn't know that for decades. I heard the song since I was a child. And you think, oh, Blackbird. It's about birds. Birds and flying birds. And of course, bird is a slang for woman. For, Americans would say chick. We saw some chicks hanging on the corner. The Brits would say, yeah, there was a few birds there. Yeah, John and I, we had a pint and said, let's go chat up some birds. Yeah, where's Paul? All right, enough bad English accents. So there you go, folks. But it all fits together, and that's one of my messages too. Just try to figure out where you can fit this shit together and get us out of this madness. So Scott, going to Jamaica as a kid, Jamaican patties were all you wanted to eat. I know, bro. They're the bomb. And I loved them, you know, when I ate meat 35 years ago. Something about them. How about that, though, right? Did you know that company is making the Beyond Meat ones? That is the shit, man, because that's the real deal company. That's the, you know, that's the company. So that, you know, they're gonna spice it up right. Nadia had a peanut butter tofu smoothie. That's great. High protein. That's a different mix, but I like that. Anything with peanut butter, I'm in. Sharon's asking what kind of juicer. We have, I'm picturing it right now. It's the round one. Used to have a champion one, but it's the round one with the green. I forget. Sorry, I forget the name. But it's a really good juicer, and I'm going to start juicing again. So maybe I'll have some pictures next time. Yeah, you do get doubles in Toronto, yeah. Oh, thank you. Robin, thank you. We have... Okay, right. The NutriBullet and the Vitamix. But what's the juicers do we have, Robin? If you're walking around the kitchen and you can... NutriBullet and Jack LaLanne. Okay, yeah. Omega juicer. There you go. Dolores! For you Seinfeld fans. Traditional Trinidad breakfast, mostly veggies. Yeah, I remember. I know. Horrible Scottish accent, Eric. I apologize ahead of time. I'm not at all copying to be... You know what, though? Don't mess with me, man. When I'm in Scotland, and Robin will be my witness, when I'm there and on about the third day, don't fuck around. I have an awesome Scottish accent after I've been on with Scottish crews for 14 hours a day for 3 days. I'm killing it. And I send videos home of me reading signs and things. But sorry, bro, out of practice. But yeah, no points for trying. Scott, thank you, man. Scott's standing up for my accent, but that was pretty poor. Because Scott's Scottish, man. That's the one, man. I tell you, that's the one. You don't know what the fuck they're saying, and it is English. It's just shapes. There's no consonants, it seems, to kind of define the syllables. Very interesting. Anyway. Ringo also, and Geezer Butler. What that has to do with the Beatles, I don't know. But Ringo, didn't he look amazing last night? Yeah, Robin, he looked... Dude is reversing the aging process. Damn, he looked really great. What's great about him, not only did he look fit and trim, which is the key. That's why I got to lose some pounds. The healthiest thing is to get your weight within, I'm not in horrible shape, but I used to be pretty trim. But Ringo and Paul have stayed a real consistent body weight, right, for 60 years, which is really important. They say when you read about health, you don't want to fluctuate. You don't want to tax your heart with extra weight. I know we're in a culture now where people that are 320 pounds were saying they're healthy. It's just a different type of healthy. I don't know about all that. That's fucked up. Long discussion there. But we should not be normalizing, chronic obesity and for the sake of the woke fantasy land. Anyway, Ringo looked great. Okay, he tries to eat broccoli at every meal. Good for him. We love broccoli. Dolores. You like that, Raymond? Yeah, that's one of the best ones. Thank you, Robin. Thank you for standing up for me. Right? When I'm there for a couple of days. One of her favorite videos, actually, you should tag in and play the video. One of her favorite videos is me urging the Yes crew not to go past the 1 o'clock curfew because there's a 30 euro fine. It's a riot. So, how is Ringo 67? He's the young one, huh? What? He's not over 70? Come on. I'm looking that shit up. Come on. Well, he was always the young one, though. You're right. He was the baby. We got to go see Ringo. It's funny because we have we have guest list tickets for Ringo. I'm just on the road all the time. Now that I'm not on the road, no one's touring. Ringo's 80. God. So he's not the young one after all. Ringo is going to be 81 on July 7th. Where'd you hear this 67 thing? Girl, you must be plumb crazy. That's right, my inner janitor, Willie. That's great. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Did I just say 67? No. That must have been my usual mumbling. I didn't say 67. Okay, so great. So news items. Let's go to one of our first news items, which is this very exciting show that, Robin, let's put this on our watch list. And it's called, what's the name of it again? Amazon. I love this as a cooking show, and I love its high profile and high budget. And it's already gotten an award. This is very exciting news because every one of these things normalizes, it mainstreams, it makes skeptical people go, okay, that my stupid sister and her nonsense for 20 years, I actually give it respect now because I saw it on Amazon. Isn't that funny how people, I'm sure any of you that have been veg for a long time, we all have that aspect, right? Like, I've been veg, this is going to be 37 years, but someone will always come up and say, did you hear? There are these Beyond Burgers. You've got to try these. They're so good. And I'm like, oh, really? Really? Yeah. Thanks for telling me. So I'm all for it, though, because whatever got them there. So here we have another one of those aspects. Veg news, which I love, and I go on here 2-3 times a week. I can't even keep up. But such cool news. And it's this woman, what's her name? She's cool. I've seen her on the host. Jane Velez Mitchell, right. She's had a few shows. But here she is with a couple of her chef guests. And it's a vegan cooking show. Very cool. New day, new chef. All right? And it debuted just a couple months ago. And they also, they're connected to a nonprofit, which is so important these days, folks. And here's what's also exciting, and it ties into one of the other things I wanted to say. The nonprofit was created by Maggie Baird. Do you know who Maggie Baird is? That's Billie Eilish's mom. And Billie Eilish, of course, vegan, right on the line there. I think she started eating some fish recently to get some omega-3s, but then I heard she addressed that, and you can easily get those things from plants. But how cool, right, that these positive things are happening. Look at these wonderful women about to cook. I just love it. And so if we jump over here, does this share properly if I switch? I think, see if I can get the audio.
Olympic medalist Dotsie Bausch shows us what it takes to fuel a world-famous athlete with her spectacular Superwoman Bowl. And she teaches us why we should always strip and massage our kale. Actress Gianna Simone gets sticky fingers and shares her delicious recipe for these indulgent, plant-based, whole food pumpkin truffles. Plus, today's co-host, punk, rock star, and social justice warrior Otep Shemaya shares her amazing plant-based journey in the music industry and her latest deadlift successes. Welcome to New Day, New Chef.
I'm Jane Velez Mitchell.
And I'm Otep Shemaya, and this is nothing like any cooking show I've
ever
ever
seen.
seen.
So this is great, and I
knew I
encourage
was
you
going to be
to
like going up to the podium.
jump in, and I've never seen it.
Okay,
but
we have a tradition
looks
around
very
here where
cool.
you do a blender dance.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, at this point, cooking shows
The amazing actress
are,
Gianna Simone.
cooking shows are a dime a dozen, you know, but this is just exciting how high profile this is. You know, Italian peppers, harmonious tower, mussel scramble. This is great, yeah. You know, and wow, okay. Babette Davis, right? I've seen her on. She does a pita thing. This chef, Babette Davis. Yeah, you know.
She's a restaurant owner. She's a soup.
We've got a whole new.
How about mushrooms?
Oh, look
How
at
about some
that.
mushrooms? There you go. And so what we're going to do is turn this nifty little stove on here, and we are going to saute this. And look, it does not take a lot. All you have to do is pretty much heat this up, because it's gonna, the final cook, of course, will be on the pizza, right? So you see that? Look how beautiful that is. This is what I'm talking about. When I prep food, Jane, I love prepping life. You know, I love the colors in food, so we're gonna add a little bit of zucchini in here. Like I said, it's your pizza. Put in there what you want to put in there, right?
Well, one of your famous sayings is,
What? What's my saying?
If you don't eat a fruit or a vegetable, it rots. If you don't eat a chicken, the chicken walks away.
Now listen, y'all, Jane told me
That's
that was
great.
my favorite saying.
That's great.
I don't remember saying that though,
You
Jane.
said, I
It's
testify in a court of law.
You should take credit for that one. That's a good one.
It's a good one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Own it. Own it.
Yeah,
Own
I
that.
said it. Yeah, I said it. Okay, so we're just gonna put a little Bragg's in this, and you know,
Bragg's
you
aminos.
guys know I love my Bragg's. And this is no salt seasoning. We're gonna put a little bit of that in there.
Now, amino acids, it's an alternative to soy sauce.
Yes.
But it's super healthy. It's a little bit lower in sodium than your
Exactly,
traditional soy
and that
sauce.
is why we at the restaurant we use Bragg's. And whenever I'm prepping any food, I'm using.
Really great.
Scooper, and you scoop out the insides of the baby potatoes. You want to try to leave a little bit of an edge.
Raymond, thank you.
And when
Yes,
these are finished,
I'm
Jane,
always late on my
you are going
self-
to be astonished at how
promotion
much
there.
they taste like double
Thank you, bro.
baked.
So this is incredible. In other words, instead of the egg, you have the potato, the outside of the potato, using that in place.
And the inside of the potato is going to be the mixture that tastes like the double egg.
I love that.
And right here, I have an easy little platter that I stick my potatoes in so that they're supported. And again, this recipe, you know, I always like to tell everyone, whatever you can make, I can make plant-based. And this is one of my favorite Easter recipes, summer recipes. My family comes over, they're like, did you make your deviled eggs? I'm like, yes,
That's
I did."
fantastic. So,
it's
well, you got the
definitely
picture, folks. Please go check that out. Look at this. Tacos, not so cheesy chips, rolls, you know, gazpacho. There's some recipes for some soups and stuff. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, very cool. Raymond says PBJ, plant-based journey. I like it. I like it. Hey, Alan Guy was here, and George was the young one. Yeah, mate. So but he would have been what? He would have been. Would he have been 80 yet? He would still be in his late 70s, right? 70, 75? Would he be that young? We have George Harrison on in this house so much. Robin always has some of his music on. He would have been 77, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so Sharon says she uses Bragg's. Yeah, lovely stuff. Yeah, Raymond, you're sick. Scoop the insides of the baby. Yes. Very good. So that was delicious, and that was one of the news items I wanted to share with you. Do I have to put the link in the chat? You know, why not? Let's just make sure you have that. I mean, are there any Amazon boycott people here? Because I mean, I almost did. They're a fucking pain in my ass, but it's kind of like we're in the Empire Strikes Back. How do you fight the Empire? Like, how do you operate outside of, I just don't use them that much, but I do love Amazon Prime. It's pretty well put together, and what can we say? Anyway, there it is, folks. You make that choice if you want. That is a cool show. So, all right, that was a news item. Another news item, I've been big up in the Black Rican vegan. This woman's amazing. We've looked at her foods last week. She's Black Puerto Rican vegan, hence the name. And she's got this great mouth-watering Instagram. And I think she expanded to Miami. And she's, again, I love this woman. And I've reached out to her and I haven't heard back. Would love to have her on the show. But just watching her explode from being like a truck in New York to like a couple trucks, and now she's in Miami. But then I was reading about this lettuce feast in Los Angeles where their truck burnt down, I think, and they did a GoFundMe. But this is another similar thing. And what's interesting about this whole, I like to report on this thread in veganism. It's not necessarily my favorite thread. I'm not going to eat like this every day. I don't recommend people like this every day. But I just want to acknowledge, it's a funny little area where it's blowing up. And we talk about it every week here. I appreciate you being here every week, those of you that come in, now that we're at about 35 weeks. It's this thread of like the White Castle sliders, and of course the BK Whopper, Burger King, and McDonald's has a vegan burger, and all of these things, these fast foody kind of things. And we can go back and forth, and someone's gonna list how many grams of fat. And I know. I'm not saying that that's health food. I'm just saying that it's interesting that these mainstream companies are just pulling the meat out and replacing it with these analogs that are either soy or wheat based, or corn or peas, or corn, which is a mushroom protein based. You've got Bill Gates dropping tens of millions on this new company that's doing mushroom-based protein, fungus-based protein. And they're making a yogurt, they're making a burger. This is incredible news, because when people like that spend that kind of money and the R&D happens and the testing and the flavoring happens, it's getting out there. So I think this is cool. Anyway, what it results in is, again, a mixed bag, kind of a fast food vegan explosion. So you have this lettuce feast in LA, and look at this. All their stuff is kind of like these, full on like American, greasy type sandwiches, sloppy joes and stuff. But then you drill down into the ingredients, and there's nothing weird and artificial about it. It just looks like it's bad for you. But I've done some reading on these folks, and yeah, they're using different whole grains and fresh potatoes and non-hydrogenated oils, and some organic lettuces and things like that. And it's pickles and seitan and ribs that are made from yams and wheat gluten and stuff. So it's just very interesting. Using oat milk and soy milk and almond milk and making these shakes. And so yeah, just thought that would be interesting to just put on people's radar. Again, I'm not saying go eat like this every day, not at all, but just kind of celebrating that there's really, for the people who love to eat this kind of stuff, there's no reason that it should be the artery clogging, other things. I'm sure you could clog your arteries though if you ate this every day, So yeah. So this is the other amazing truck I've been checking out, Black Rican Vegan, and she does quite a bit more Whole Foods oriented stuff. She does some of the sandwiches and stuff, but she does these traditional pastelillos, mofongo, different plátanos, tacos. Look at this delicious stuff, right? Jalapeno cornbread. So that's the thing. Every week I want to encourage people that this can be savory, exciting food. It's not boring at all. It's not celery sticks, and cold tofu, which is, I can't believe in 2021, I still meet people who think that. Look at that delicious burrito bowl, huh? And if you're going low carb, yeah, drop the burrito, have everything that's inside of it. There's a little rice there and corn, but very low carb once you drop that wrap. Some good fat with the guacamole, some nice spicy vegetables like the salsa and the jalapenos. Look at that. So a lot of exciting ideas. Okay, cool. So all right, I want to talk a little bit about the other area that I've promised myself I would approach every week. Let's see if there's any questions. Beware the Ides of March. Yes, forgot about that. That's today. Let Us Pray. We had a tune called Let Us Pray, my band, Rhythm Method, and you met the bass player a couple weeks ago. Bass player Ben Davis, vegetarian still. All right, so before I forget, let me share my lunch. We've been having some soups the past couple of days, and I'm just trying to eat a little more raw. I got some watermelon last night. It's a little out of season, and yep, that had to travel. But I said, I never buy this stuff, and I'm just not eating enough fruit. I eat an apple every couple of days, which is bad. You should have an apple a day, right? And I've been eating, pineapple, some berries, some dried dates, but not enough fruit, not enough. Eat a salad probably once a day. Sometimes I'll miss a day, but not enough raw food. So this is not a raw meal, but it's a nicely balanced meal. And I thought it was just beautiful. It felt like we were in a Greek restaurant or something. Robin put this together. Look at that. Beautiful plating, first of all. It's some delicious Grillo's pickles, which are the best. Some quickly pan-fried tempeh. And that's about 20 grams of protein right there, folks. 20 grams. And some delicious bitter greens. Oh, those greens were exquisite. Just some broccoli rabe, just quickly steamed, and some oil added, and some salt and pepper. And then adding that Greek touch, some Violife feta, which is unbelievable. It's got the briny saltiness of milk feta. They really got the texture, folks. I tell you, if you haven't tried the Violife stuff, man, oh man. I mean, Violife is fucked up. They really are. Just looking, I thought I had another food picture here. I got some Michaela Coel pictures and some Kate Bush. But I don't have, oh yeah, here's another, this is another delicious meal. Wow, so this is my favorite kind of thing, like what you would get in a restaurant. That's Thai chilies, another Grillo's pickle, fresh tomato, some homemade hummus, by the way, and some dill, pickled dill, on a Dave's Killer Bread bagel. But yeah, plant-based musicians, yeah, we're doing a thing on Paul McCartney, Kate Bush, others, but we've been going crazy, talking about actors, Michaela Coel, who I don't know if she's plant-based, but this young lady, what a fucking genius. We just watched her series called I May Destroy You. Any of you looking for a new show to watch? Wow, amazing. It's on HBO, I May Destroy You. And it's kind of this dark, crazy tale of kind of mostly African and Caribbean descent, people of color in London, the little group of friends, and all kinds of people actually, but the focus, the 2 or 3 main stars is her. She's from Ghana, and she plays a woman from Ghana, and very diverse cast, actually. All kinds of people, English people, but really dark and heavy program about sexual abuse and what's truth and what's not truth, and how humans treat each other, and but in an incredible backdrop of East London, Hackney, that area, which I love. My sister used to live there, so I spent a lot of time around there and on tours and stuff. Just love London. Love that part of London where it's, you walk down the street and this store is people from Ghana. This next one's Polish people. A lot of stores are Polish. You have Jamaicans and Scots and Welsh and, Italians and Spanish people. Greeks and Pakistanis, and just you turn another corner and it's 5 Indian restaurants. Just East London, man. Just it's really it's a reflection of the British Empire that came back to England, much to the chagrin of the Brexiteers. But fuck them. That's how you got to be an empire, by beating the shit out of all these folks. So I love that they're all there. But they bring a beautiful culture and a mix of culture and foods and stuff from around the world, whether they came in from the Hong Kong part of the colonies or the Guyana part of the colonies or the South Africa or India or Sri Lanka, Ceylon, or you name it, all around the world, and in the right parts of London. So great show. Michaela Coel, who's this great writer, she's got another show called Chewing Gum. And we've been enjoying that. So, all right. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my Patreon. I'll talk about that real quick. And Zach, yeah, right. Firelife, Zach. I'm telling you, bro. And there's nothing fake about it. I love when people say, "Oh, that's the fake stuff." I will throw down, and we can compare ingredients, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you look at the back of Firelife, and it'll be whatever, cashew, almonds, or oats, and salt, and garlic, and, some sort of oil. And these cheeses vary. They have varying things. Some of them have nutritional yeast. Some of them have, garlic and herbs and things. But if we were to really break down, and most of them are organic ingredients, too. Chemical, not chemical, and of course, everything is chemicals because everything's made of elements. But I hate when people say chemical-free food. What's that? There isn't anything, not even air. Air isn't chemical-free. But it's used, what's the word? Euphemistically. But those kinds of cheeses are usually organic ingredients, so that they're, no synthetic pesticides and hormones and all that. But let's go and look at a block of cheddar from some mainstream provider, and you're going to have dozens of hormones and steroids and things to make the animal grow faster and fatter. You're going to have antibiotics. You're going to have traces of penicillin and all kinds of stuff that to keep these animals from being sick. You're going to have preservatives. You're going to have colorings. I mean, right? This long list. So always keep that in mind as you're eating healthier foods and people say, well, that's fake. I like the real stuff. Challenge them on that. And challenge them to maybe get organic eggs instead of non-organic eggs. Because then you're eating a real egg. You're eating a real thing from nature that doesn't have 25 chemicals in it and things. So hats off to you, Zach, because I've seen you just dive into this stuff over the time that I've known you, and really, it's great to see you, experimenting with all these healthy foods. Sharon says, weirdly enough, the Cheesecake Factory has a raw vegan Cobb salad. Wow, which is huge, delicious avocado egg rolls. Did not know that. Cheesecake Factory, that's awesome. So, okay, I want to spend a minute or two on my Patreon page, because I've been doing that, and I invite you to check that out. Thank you, Raymond Helfish, for putting it there. What is Patreon? I'm going to do a stream that's just about it, so I don't want to take too much time for this. Got a couple other food things I want to touch base on, especially raw foods. But Patreon, if you don't know, it's been around for a few years. I'm late to the game. My dear friend Paul Bilatowicz, for 2 years now, has been urging me to do this, and I've just thought, what do I have to? It just doesn't work for me. I'm not the kind of person for that. You need to be famous. I thought, but I'm an artist. I'm a creative. I'm someone who has created art and authored sound and written songs and done albums and put together touring bands, and then pivoted to working for touring artists or touring bands. Like many artists, you have a day job. You have Philip Glass drove a taxi, right? Who sold insurance? Charles Ives, I think. A lot of these people that we revere, a lot of the jazz greats taught and painted houses and did all kinds of stuff. So I do that. I work in the music biz, which I'm fortunate. At least it's still music, but I've done other things. Owned a natural food store. 15 years working in natural foods. I've taught night school at Middlesex County College in New Jersey for years. I've been a substitute teacher for over 20 years. Did you know that? Substitute taught in the school system in New Jersey and here in Asheville, North Carolina. Have not done it at this point for 3 years. One of those years, you know why. But I do it because it's great when you're off the road, very flexible, and you can pick, 3 or 4 days out of the week to work. So I'm not one of these people like that job's beneath me. I've been a busboy, I've been a waiter, I've driven Uber, I've had summer jobs at power plants, data entry, and a lot of journalism. I wrote for 3 different prominent newspapers and a couple of magazines. I wrote for the Two River Times, which is in Monmouth County, New Jersey, and for the Hub, which is a local paper as well, and for a couple of different magazines. Anyway, all this stuff swirls around, and I go, it's 2021, gotta work, gotta figure something out. Patreon is a way to take all of those skills, knowledge, different passions, and put them together and say, how can I offer these to people at a really nominal cost? So that leads to my Patreon channel, which let me, where is it? I just had it here. Oh yeah, here we go. So my Patreon channel is a way that people can subscribe to, if you're not sick of hearing me already, you can, the good thing is on Patreon, I'm usually performing. I'm and that's what you hear, or teaching. So, for instance, let's go to it right here. So if you pop over, as the Brits would say, to my Patreon page, I've got some simple membership levels. I've got for $5 a month, $10 a month, $25, and I've got a $40 in there somewhere. Let's see, show more. There we go. So the most basic thing is $5 a month, and it's like if you would buy me a beer once a month. Would you buy me a beer once a month or a coffee? Well, I'm a partially out of work artist, and if you do want to support my art, that's one way you could do it. $5 a month. I perform every Sunday an acoustic live show, and I'll pull that up in a second. So it's like $1.25 for a 1 hour, 75-minute performance. You can't beat that. $1.25 a week. And then also once a week at the $5 level, I do my weekly guitar effects and sound design looping workshop. I'm about to add an electronic performance to that tier so that if you like that kind of music, I do that too. At the $10 level, you get all of that, but then also a weekly synth tutorial. I'm going to do some other tutorials as I poll people and find out what they want to talk about. And then also there's a Discord channel that I'm putting up. And you also get what's called the video rewind, where we sit once a week, watch a concert, and talk about it. We just have a little Zoom meeting. It's really fun. It might be 3 people, it might be 7 people. And we watch in HD stereo. Watch it, beautiful quality. So far, we've watched an October 2008 concert that I was part of. I was the tour manager and tech for Adrian Belew in Leverkusen, New Jersey. No, Leverkusen, Germany. That's a Freudian slip. And it was great. You know, we watched 3 or 4 songs, and then we stop and we talk about it. I tell some anecdotes, something that happened that day in Germany. I talk about the equipment. I talk about, you know, some of the songs, some of the fun stories about the tour. And someone who had attended this, one of my patrons, he had never heard Adrian Belew. So it was wonderful to watch someone real time, 3, 4 songs into it, go like, head exploded. And I had explained to him, yeah, you've heard him with the Talking Heads, and you can call me Al, you know, Paul Simon. But this guy had never heard Adrian's own music. So it was wonderful, and I'll never forget that particular concert. It was the day before the 2008 election, which we talked about before. So I'll never forget it, because we woke up the next day in, where were we? Lithuania. Woke up in Lithuania, or at 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning, you know, whatever the time exchange was when those results happened. Man, I you know. Anyway, those kind of stories happen real time. So, and that's the $10 level. So everything I just described at the $10 level, that's like for $250 a week, you get full-on synthesizer tutorials, guitar effects and looping, and getting into main stage, Ableton, all manner of things. For those of you who want to go down that road, you couldn't get lessons for this for $250 a week, but that's what I'm offering. And this whole thing works on scale. The whole point is, if you can get 10 people to do it, then suddenly it's kind of what I would charge for teaching. And I do teach guitar. I teach guitar right now, $50 an hour, 5 hours, every 5 hours you get a free hour. So $50 an hour, 5 hours for $250 with an extra hour. So you get 6 hours for $250. And my hours are like 70 minutes easily. But I'm teaching beginner and intermediate guitar right now, first year theory. If anyone looking for lessons or knows someone who does, I'm doing that on top of this because I got to work. So anyway, so we have that tier. For those of you here for the natural foods world, for the vegetarian world, for the plant-based world, I've got the Naturalist Workshop. That's $25 a month. And you get everything I just said. So you get all the music, you get my performances. I'm adding to those. You couldn't, you know, it's like walking in to see me play in a club for $2. Hey, I'm okay with it because, again, if I can scale this up. But also at the $25 level, you get a weekly workshop, which happens right after this Meatless Monday, 6 o'clock Eastern, Monday nights. And I record it so you can watch it later. And it's a discussion with however many people. It might be 2 of you, might be 5 of you. But it's all of us on a Zoom channel, face-to-face, 2-dimension, where we can have discussions off the grid. We're just in a private Zoom meeting. And we can address specific topics. We can get into recipes and cooking ideas and things to stock a natural kitchen, plant-based alternatives to different foods. We can talk about specific things. I was helping someone the other day with chronic fatigue syndrome. We can talk about lupus or MS and all of these syndrome X diseases and how to build your immune system, how to alkalize, how to enhance and optimize digestion, immunity, these crucial things that I'm amazed are still at the top of the level of ailments and problems people are having. I'm amazed that the number one killer is still heart disease. So any topic, folks, raw foods, which I'm going to get to in a minute and close out the show on raw foods. I'm ready to do some workshops on that in this weekly workshop. So that's the $25 a month level. All of the music stuff, all of the tutorials, and some stuff food related. The weekly workshop, direct, contact with me for just questions and ideas and consulting on stuff. And then once a month, I'm doing a live food prep, which is going to be once a month. Do a live stream of a simple plant-based meal and see how I prepare it. And then also, you'll have access to my thread called Vegan on the Road, which is my new travelogue that I'm building. Pictures, videos, maps, stories around my 30 years of being on the road and eating plant-based on 5 continents. I got so many pictures, so many things sitting on hard drives that I don't do anything with. I'm going to weave it together and we can have some fun. Kind of like a veg Anthony Bourdain. That's what I'm, I loved Anthony Bourdain. Wow, what a tragic loss. He was not fond of vegetarians. He felt the need to poke at us from time to time. But it wasn't vitriolic, but he had a few bad experiences with a few that worked for him. But what was funny about the Anthony Bourdain show is when he went places, especially the Middle East, Asia, South America, Africa, especially when he went to certain parts of the world, half of the food or a third of the food would be vegetarian, right? Especially when he was in India or Syria or Turkey or, Santiago, Chile or something. It's all these amazing things, arepas and these little, pies and, baba ganoush and some kind of roasted corn dish from this country or some sweet potato dish here in Vietnam or some noodles. Tons and tons of meat, don't get me wrong, but there was a scale there. As he went more into third world countries, you saw more of the stuff was you'd see some veg options here and there, and some crickets and some. I'm not, at all, saying it was a vegetarian show, but I think you hear what I'm saying. He definitely, with relish, would have these amazing dishes, when he was in Jamaica or things like that. So that's the kind of thing I'm going to talk about in my Patreon. And so that's it. And I've got, I'm still building this. I'm still developing it. I'm still adding to it. So everything I just told you is just the tip of the iceberg, really, because it's only going to get better. It's my job right now. So I'm doing this more and more and more. And I'm, it's what I do. So, Veg Anthony Bourdain. That's right. Thank you, Nadia. I'm trying. I said I need less beer. I know, right? So, okay. So, let me finish on this, and then we'll go back to some raw food. I know, Nadia, wasn't Anthony Bourdain the shit? Man, he's so cool. I just loved his attitude, man, and his swagger. I mean, I'm going to put his pimp walk right after Obama's. I'm going to go there, right? You ever notice they always have a shot of Anthony just walking his ass down in the market, right, somewhere? Or that dude, damn it, man. That tells you depression, man. Depression is some dark shit, man. And I've been there. I was there a few hours ago. But, yeah, I mean, depression is fucked up, folks. And I'm very frank about it. It's, the shit will eat you alive. But it's part of why I do this show, to tell people, find something that inspires you, figure it out, fit it into your life. And obviously this inspires me, and you folks inspire me. But my heart goes out to this dude, man. I mean, how many of us would have given anything to just walk around and eat food, right? And he seemed like he was living his best life, and he fucking kills himself. Man, that's some dark shit. So let's see here. There he is. This clip has him with Obama. That's what I'm playing. There he is. Oh man, come on! They're in some little Middle Eastern place. Look at that walk. There he goes. Man, what a tragedy. This dude. And you know what's great too is the food was almost the background. It was a cultural show. I love that he just embraced every culture. And sorry folks, he was pretty progressive, pretty socialist. Every show he would sneak in a comment about how the people here have, an egalitarian life, or they have well-supported art, or the healthcare. He would always slip in a comment about how he wishes they had this or that back home. And I appreciated that he didn't hold back on kind of saying, Americans, you could learn some shit. You can learn some shit if you only studied these folks in Iran or Iran, however you say it, instead of hating them. If you only looked up Malawi or Liberia, look the shit up instead of being a bigot. I love that. That was the message I got from this dude. Because he would always sit with, he would find someone that, like this dude, he would find somebody in Suriname. He went to Guyana too, where I'm from. He went to Australia. He went everywhere. And he would find somebody to carry him around and show him the real shit. The real shit. And look, some of it's not what I want. I didn't like the slaughtering and the blood. But there you go. As I said, he always ate these root vegetables and these different things. And he got right in the dirt, man. He got right in the dirt. He was like, I want to eat what you're eating. And he always would talk about some mining problem and how some village was being destroyed by some gold company. And I love it, man. He really didn't. He pissed some people off, I'm sure. I'm not watching this to hear about how evil the Western world is. Turn this off, honey. How dare he? Well, we miss you, bro. Anyway, that's my dream gig. So if somebody knows, some people, look at that. Where is he now? In the South somewhere? If someone, and he drank his ass off. That was the other thing, right? This motherfucker always, that's where they started. He'd be like, okay, what do you guys drink? And it would be, how do you say it? Caparana. How do you say that? When he went to Brazil, I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but the caipirinha, how do you say it? That traditional Brazilian rum drink that gets you fucked up just looking at it. The Brazil episode's great because he has like 8 of those, and he says it. He's like, I'm gonna have to stumble back to the hotel now. Oh, this must be in Jamaica. Yeah, look at that. This is one of my favorite ones. What was cool in Jamaica is that he had a lot of delicious. There he is. He's eating the patty. That's great. You can't make this shit up, folks. There he is. Oh, I miss Jamaica. Look at that. Man, my dad had a house like that. What am I doing here and not sitting in a house like that? Jesus. There we go. Jamaica. And I think there's a scene here where he's looking at the ocean and he says, well, there's many things to enjoy in Jamaica. Oh, look at that view. And he says, however, because of local laws, I can't show you what I'm enjoying right now here in Jamaica, so we're just going to show you the ocean. And you just hear, you kind of hear some noises, and he's enjoying Jamaica's finest. Yeah, he gets in doing some karate. Look at this. It's just a journey around the world. And that's what I'm trying to do here, folks, without the traveling. I like to talk about international foods, and this is a big inspiration. So anyway, back to my Patreon. That's what, I have videos from around the world. I have videos from eating in Chile and Melbourne, Australia, and London and Toronto, and forget the city of Mexico. Well, Mexico City, and as well as Veracruz or somewhere. Eating food in Turkey and Bydgoszcz, Poland, and Guyana and Uruguay and Paraguay. I make little videos and I have them all. So I'm going to do some stuff like that. But I'm going to start out by having it be part of my Patreon. Finally, to finish the Patreon kind of highlight,
open these
I have this other thing
that's where they could
that
be telling
I do.
people, hey, you're actually drawing an envelope.
Right?
Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it. I never thought of it that
So
way.
this is a little glimpse of
Yeah,
my
yeah,
Saturday.
right. There's definitely some
synth
crossover
workshop.
there, right? You're telling the sound how to operate. So let's look at a few things there. So if I have the attack immediate or 0, right? Let's call that 0 to 10 or whatever scale you want to call it. And again, I'm just sticking with a square wave. Let me change the sound though, because we've been hearing. Let's go to. Just dial in. So you notice I got a different sound. There we go. That's a nice sound. If you can kind of hear like a little bit of a bell quality popping in, because now I've made it a really rich waveform, combination of waveforms. I've made it a combination of the sub, the sawtooth, the square, and the triangle. So I got everything happening. I'm sorry, I didn't mention the one other waveform that's in this synth that I love. And once in a while, you find a synth that leaves this out. I don't understand it. And so you've got the square, sawtooth, all that. This has got a noise waveform. Wow. And again, like I said, once in a while, you find a synth without noise. It's really rare, and I don't know what they're thinking, but noise is so crucial. I love noise because it's in everything. You know, we hear this sound. I'm going to fade it up. It's in your mind, you can make noise anything you want. Think of this as a water hose hitting your car as you're washing it in the summer. Or surf. You know, water hitting surf. Or if I put a little filtering on it, suddenly it's wind or a storm outside your window. Oh, let's go low pass filter. Doom, 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 doom. Oh my God, this is a sound. What's amazing about noise is that, you know, when we were babies, we were hearing this sound in 10 different ways. You know, so I'm so fascinated by noise because it's everywhere around us. I mean, you can imagine, you know, if you're you're flying United 737. This is the sound, isn't it? You hear this for 3 hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it just disappears after a while. But there it is, white noise. Now it never goes, that you would notice, but it's right about there. Just this.
So that gives you an idea, folks. It's kind of boring if that's not your thing.
I always want to.
But if it is your
put
thing,
synthesizer.
we sit around and talk about LFOs and sequencers. We talk about FM synthesis.
Okay, so
We talk about
it's at 12 o'clock. But if I give it just a little bit,
we talk about sampling.
we've talked about many times. The
And,
gear gets better, but they also leave out a lot of the cool shit.
So that's just an idea. There's also, of course, my performances, which happen every week as well, and those have been a lot of fun. Those are just me doing acoustic music, and I thought, let's do something different, because I'm known for doing a lot of loud electronic, loud rock and roll, electronic music, funk, fusion, reggae, just all kinds of things that are, not so quiet. But what people don't realize is I love quiet. I know you're going like, really? Yeah, I do. I love acoustic music. And let's see if I can find that one of those. Every Sunday, at the very least, if you're interested, every Sunday, I'm out there doing an acoustic thing, and some of my songs, some cool covers, kalimbas, percussion,
So there's all kinds of fun stuff happening. I'm just doing this on the fly, so I can't find a really awesome example, but volume's a little low, but so that gives you an idea. We're just doing all this cool stuff. I think it's cool. It's fun. You might not think it's cool, but if you do, if you're a weirdo, and again, it's just getting started. I'm going to do a Zappa night. I'm just trying to pick the time and the night. Oops, slap back. I think it's going to be Wednesday nights, and that's going to be cool because, again, I've got hundreds, maybe thousands of hours of unreleased audio and video from my tours with Zappa. But we're just going to do a round table talking about Zappa, talking about his music, getting real deep with it. You know, I've had a Frank Zappa tribute band for over a quarter century. So I have some stories I've played with and toured with and even recorded with almost 20 of Zappa's alumni and his colleagues, his co-conspirators, his collaborators, including his sister, Candy Zappa. I've had her on stage with us a number of times. But lots of stories, lots of fun, and I want to integrate it into this because it just doesn't fit for social media, some of these wackier things. So that's my Patreon story, and I'm sticking to it. So, you know, if you're interested, check me out there or tell someone who's a millionaire to to come support me. And I didn't do this for a long time because it felt like begging. And now I realize, I understand, you know what, it's not. It's soliciting a gig. I'm asking you to pay me for a gig. If you think I'm worth a $1.25 Sunday acoustic show, then that's the simplest way you can jump in. And then it goes up from there. And I'm only getting started. I just put this thing up a month ago, still learning about it. I attended a seminar on Patreon the other day on how to really optimize it. So I consider this is still the ground floor, you know, and I have about 20 patrons so far, which is fantastic. And, you know, it's a little drop in the bucket, but I figure if I can get this going. The cool thing about it, my dear friend Paul Baladowicz has taught me so much. The cool thing is when I go back on the road next year or something, I can keep doing it because it's online. So you do it from the road. So okay, so let's jump back to your comments. Nadia, yes, it's walking, right? Yeah, and he went to Trinidad. True. Bourdain. Stanley Tucci explores Italy on CNN. Yeah, I saw that, Raymond. Yes, and not veg all the way, but Italy's very veg friendly. Love that. I do love that. And yes, all the different things, risotto and pasta and all these things. I love it. I love Italy. Very easy to be veg, actually. Vegan takes a little extra step, but also very doable. But when I was in Italy, which I've been many times, a couple of the times I was like, you know what? I'm in fucking Italy. That mozzarella was made yesterday. Let's try it. I'm that guy. I'm not like a fascist about this stuff. But I'm not going to eat, you know, the shitty cheese that you find in a lot of stores and pizzerias here. So, but yeah, Italy's fantastic. Alan, what's up, bro? Your brother lived all around the world, immersed yourself in the culture, ate the foods. Yeah, drank all the local firewater. Yes. Caipirinha. Yeah, that's the stuff. I had some in Brazil. That's awesome. Ganja is a veg. I know, Nats. That does. We live right next door to Brazil, and we don't have enough Brazilian shit happening. Are y'all checking out what's happening? Speaking of Brazil, speaking about my beloved South American continent. Are y'all checking out Manaus? What's happening? Wow, man. I mean, that's Manaus, folks. If you haven't been checking that out, you should, because Manaus is crazy right now. Manaus had like 70% infection, and a lot of people thought, good, that's going to give us immunity, and we can prove that all we need is to let everyone catch this thing, and we're fine. No. Mother Nature said no. And Manaus is a fucking nightmare. Major, big city in Brazil, and one of the closest cities to Guyana, to where we're from. But there is South America, and Manaus is, first off, some people ask sometimes, I was born right there, right up top. See Guyana, right next to Venezuela. I'm amazed when people think it's Ghana. No, here's Ghana. Here's the difference. Look at that. It's actually pretty similar latitudes, right? So, and when you think about how Africa used to be, everyone knows Gondwana land, right, where the African continent was smacked up against South America years ago. You think about it, Ghana and Guyana were actually right near each other. So that's kind of funny. What's going on there? But, oops, I don't want to pin that. Anyway, so there's Ghana. Just a little necessary geography lesson. There it is, middle of the screen. Ghana. Next to Cote d'Ivoire. Next to Togo and Benin. Right near Nigeria. Nigeria, which is something like the 4th most populous country on earth. Can you believe that shit? Doesn't look that big, does it? But it's, 200 some million people. Anyway, I and most of my family is from Guyana, right there. See that? And I was born right there, Georgetown, Guyana. There it is. And that's where most of the people in that country are. There's almost no one in the rest of it. It's rainforest. Anyway, my point here is Manaus, which is this city here. And, read about them. Major Brazilian city, and they're going through a nightmare right now. I always wanted to go there, and maybe I will one day. Here, it's a beautiful city, right there at the meeting place of a couple of rivers that all feed into the Amazon. But, so speaking of caipirinha, there we go. I've been fortunate to travel around South America as a touring professional. The only countries left for me to go are Bolivia, Ecuador, Colombia, Suriname, French Guiana. So 5 out of the 13 or whatever. So yeah, pretty cool. All right, so that's a little bit of a geography sidebar. But we do sidebars here. So my guitar is too small, Alan says. Which one? In the picture in the in the Patreon. Raymond says, how much could you charge this audience for views of my photos and pictures of me backstage? That's funny. Well, who would want that? But yeah. Okay, great. So, folks, I want to close out on something that I'm going to try to increase in my life, and as we hit spring in 6 days, I've talked about it a bunch today. No need to rehash everything there, but spring is coming for the Northern Hemisphere. We've got we got some warm weather already happening here, and I'm going to talk a lot as we go on. I'm going to show some pictures of the garden as we start planting it and different things like that. And one of the things I want to talk about is eating more raw foods. So I'm going to talk about that each week a little bit, and raw food is something that some of you that have been here a while know that I've done I did for over 2 years. And I still think about how I felt during that. It was optimal. It was amazing. I really, even now when I eat raw foods, if I have a raw shake, a lot of people have shakes here. We talk about it all the time. Scott Mulder had a juice before. We talk about the power of juice, the power of shakes. Something like, throw in your blender blueberries, kale, bananas, strawberries, some almonds or some dates or something, some sort of protein like hemp seeds, hemp hearts, sunflower seeds. Everyone knows how you feel having stuff like that, right? You just feel like, holy shit, why don't I drink 3 of these a day? But we love food. We love the aroma. We love the cooking. We love the spiciness. We love the char. I get it. And that's the struggle. And that's where you might ask, well, if you felt so great, why'd you stop eating raw? I know, it 100% because of the world that I'm in. And at the time, co-owned a natural food store, so I was surrounded by food that I needed to taste and try for my profession, surrounded by fresh soups that we would make every day. And I just kind of went back into it. But it was an amazing experiment, and I always give thanks. And Nadia, you took me to a raw foods place in Toronto. I'll never forget that place. That was great because back then, just finding these places that made wonderful foods. So that's something I just want to throw out to people. Here's the spring, and if you're trying to optimize your health, you're trying to lose some weight, you're trying to get your immune system up, you're trying to get rid of the processed stuff, you're looking at this past year and you're saying, man, this disease, this virus, not it caused the disease, but this virus, it really showed us about comorbidities, right? About obesity, but also propensity to heart disease, propensity to diabetes, propensity to all these things, and how those are the folks who had the shittier time, right? And I don't know about you, but I've been thinking about that all year, going like, man, gotta get the vitamin D up, gotta get the immune system up, gotta no junk food. So it really helped me this year. I'm not a huge junk food person, but I like my bag of salt and vinegar, all natural chips or crisps. Been a long while. I don't, couldn't even tell you. But I really was careful this year. And more I think about it, I want to ramp it up this year. More fruit, more salads, more protein from nuts and seeds, getting back to almonds, Brazil nuts, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, in your salad, in your shakes or smoothies, sprouting these things, eating more sprouts. I used to eat sprouts every day. What happened? Getting away from this. So that's my pledge, and that's the kind of thing I'm going to talk about more and more. I'm already upping the fruit. I'm upping the pickles. Pickles, one of the most wonderful ways to get raw food. Many types of pickles are simply the vegetable in a brine solution. Sometimes the pickles, it's a steamed or boiled vegetable. But many times you pickle things raw. That's the whole idea. You're preserving them. Pickles are one of the most ancient form of preservation, found on every continent, with salt or acidic elements like vinegars. Every country, every culture has a fermented vinegar type of a thing. In Asia, you'll find rice wine vinegar. You'll find fish pastes that are fermented. You'll find miso. You'll find tempeh. All these fermented foods. Natto, made from soybeans. The Japanese have a lot of fermentation. We should listen to that. Japanese people have incredible longevity. I've been in Japan 8 times, and I'm about to do a post in a couple weeks about that first time. It was a decade ago, right after Fukushima. Love Japan. Y'all hear me bring up Japan all the time. Love that place. Love that country. The people are amazing. But one thing that blows my mind when you're in Japan, many things blow my mind, but you see
tons of old people. You don't realize old people here are in homes, a lot of them. I mean, really old, in their 80s and 90s. That's relatively old. I don't want to, I'm going to be there soon, so it's not that bad. No, but what's interesting in Japan, you see lots and lots of 70, 75, 80, 85-year-olds walking straight up, like they're not bent over and struggling across the street. There's a few, the real old ones, they're in their 90s. But you see these people, Japanese people, and I ask, I've been there a lot, so I have Japanese friends, I talk to people, and their elderly people are incredibly healthy. We should be listening. There's a lot of reasons. The hydration, the high mineralized water, they walk a lot. They walk a lot. Mass transit, comprehensive. So you're walking to the train, walking to the bus, walking. They do a lot more walking. They eat, they're generally much more lean people. You don't really see a lot of obese people there at all. It's a big deal. Wow, heavy-set Japanese. What's up with that? Yeah, it's odd. They're not ostracized, but they would stick out. They eat a lot of things. We could go on the Japanese diet. A lot of seafood, a lot of fish, which is not my thing, but is high in omega fatty acids. It's high in a lot of very good things. Unfortunately, in 2021, we're now overfishing. The Japanese are a prime example of that. Some of them are fighting to keep fishing whale. Some of them, they're now fishing deeper and deeper in the ocean as they wipe out entire schools and species of fish. You can look up articles about this. The Japanese culture is starting to eat fish from lower and lower in the food chain. And they're all about it. I mean, you go to a full-on sashimi, which is the fish part. Sushi is just the rice, actually. But if you go to a sushi sashimi restaurant in Japan, your mind will be blown. You'll see some fucked up shit. Yeah. You think blowfish is the outer? Man, I've seen some stuff in Japanese. Wow. Some psychedelic color octopus and some weird looking stuff with eyes and stuff that looks like spiders. And they're just chopping it up and eating it. These things that look like sea snakes and serpents. I'm like, what's that? Let's find out. You guys are going to eat that? So in Japan, they eat, rich, but they also eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of roots, 20 types of potatoes and daikons and radishes, and they pickle these things, different turnips, the seaweed, the sea vegetables. They're pulling things up also that are, renewable vegetables. But I want to emphasize the importance of fermentation, which, again, comes back to raw foods. Fermentation, folks. Apple cider vinegar, pickles, sauerkraut, miso, and jumping over to the Korean culture, kimchi, and many similar pickles in the Chinese diet, in the Vietnamese diet, the Indian diet, right? Those different mango pickles and lime pickles, and so you go sweeping across the globe as I'm doing right now. You go into Greece and Turkey, and the amount of foods they eat that have brine and pickling in them, vinegars. Going to Italy and Spain, again, vinegars, pickles, olives that are sitting in brine. Going into African countries, again, salting foods and pickling them, different broad beans and different things that are pickled by Africans. You go into German and Eastern European cultures, and you got, again, different varieties of sauerkrauts, pickles, pickled beets, pickled greens. Russia, same thing. All these pickles, all these versions of cabbage that are salted and left in a jar because the winter's coming. And then you have this beautiful food that has microorganisms, that has life in it, that has fermentation. Something happened with the European and African enslaved people came here, the Africans, but the European immigrants to this country, something happened where a lot of them cut off that relationship to fermented food. Yes, if you go deep into ethnic areas of like a Polish area in Chicago or in Brooklyn or Eastern European Jewish areas of Brooklyn or Manhattan or something, yes, people are, the more traditionally minded people, tons of pickles, tons of sauerkraut, tons of these things from the motherland. But it's a funny thing. In the American diet, there's almost no good fermentation. Most Americans have sauerkraut on a hot dog at the ball game, right? A couple times a year. And it's shit sauerkraut from a can that's dead, does not have the living microorganisms that are so good for you. And Americans would eat pickles in the form of relish more than actual pickle. But when they eat pickles, again, it's often some shelf-stable Clausen pickle or something that's been on the shelf for months with yellow dye and red dye, all this shit in it. You want to get fresh, unpasteurized fermented food when you can, folks, and bring that back into your life. So that's kind of something I'm going to be talking about week after week coming up. Raw foods, increasing raw foods. I'm going to go experiment with bringing some of the raw foods back to my life. I need to get healthier. Apple cider vinegar, which we use. I haven't used it a lot lately. I'm going to get back on using that as much as I can. You've heard that talked about on this show. People have talked about it. I've had some guests who say they drink it every day and stuff like that. When we had Carmine Rojas a couple of weeks ago, who we still have to watch the last part of his interview, he swears by it. A few other people. So raw and fermented and uncooked and living foods. That's, kind of one of the things I want to leave you with. And I'm going to start picking one raw day a week, just like we have Meatless Monday. I'm going to try to have an uncooked day, So, okay, great. Let me just see if there's any questions. Well, shortly. Okay, great. Okay, let's see any of your questions and comments as we wrap up. Why can't I? Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, I see. There we go. I couldn't see your comments. Facebook's like trying to. Why is this? Facebook confuses me sometimes. I don't know, Sonny, with this Facebook. I can't find anything. Let me just see. Where's my? Why is this? You got Facebook you kids. Me sometimes. I don't know, Sonny. I'm just barely starting to need these sometimes. I can't find anything. Let me just see. Where's my? Before I forget, a couple plugs. You kids. Me sometimes. Please I don't know, Sonny. Check out my Patreon. Tell some people about it. Sometimes. I can't find anything. Let me just see. Where's my? I just do this once a week. It'll always be free. Before I forget, a couple plugs. You kids. Please. I don't know, Sonny. My good friend Raymond helped us put my Venmo up here. I've got my PayPal. I put my Venmo again. It's just I just do this once a week. It'll always be free. Before I forget, a couple plugs. Can I spell that? How the hell do you spell this stupid name? Please. I don't know, Sonny. My good friend Raymond helped us put my Venmo up here. I've got my PayPal. I also want to give a plug that on Wednesday, I do 2 shows on Make Weird Music. Every other Wednesday, every other Friday. And this Wednesday, very good friend guest coming up, Michelle Mo. And I've got a show called The Gear Spotlight on Wednesday, where we talk about. I do 2 shows. No, that's the launching. The launching every other Wednesday, every other Friday. The launching spot is The Gear. Michelle Mo. And I've got a show, but we get into all kinds of things on Wednesday, where we talk about. I do 2 shows. No, that's the launching. The launching every other Wednesday, every other Friday. The launching spot is The Gear. Michelle, time here. And I've got a show, but we get into all kinds of things on Wednesday, where we talk about. I do 2 shows. No, that's the launching. The launching every other Wednesday, every other Friday. The launching spot is The Gear. Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Michelle Mo live on the Make Weird Music channel, and we're going to talk about Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern history, and how she maintains and keeps it all alive with her executive director. We're going to talk about her status running the museum and how she maintains and keeps it all alive with her executive has the Bob Moog archive, some of his archival status, schematics, his ledgers, tons of pictures, a lot of biographical stuff, and a lot of stuff showing the exact history of how he got into electronic music, how he invented the Bob Moog greatest filters archive, some of his archival status, schematics, fell in love with theremin, met Leo Theremin, and started making a lot of stuff showing the exact history of how he got into working for Raymond Scott, and then developing one of the greatest some of his companies, fell on earth, and he changed the sound of music and started around the world. A lot of stuff Western music, selling it, Turkish music, they brought synthesizers, Nigerian music, Phil T started using jazz music, fell on earth, and Korea, of course, people like Jan Hammer, and around the world. A lot of stuff Western music. The Beatles used Turkish mode, right? Sun Ra used mode. Nigerian music around the planet. This man is genius. Jazz. So we're going to talk to his daughter, talk a little bit about that, talk about the annual raffle, which is happening right now. We win a mini mode. Sun Ra and around the planet. This man is there some background? So we're going to talk to his daughter, talk a little bit about that, talk about the annual raffle, which is happening right now. We win a mini mode. Sun Ra and around the planet. Is there some background? So we're going to talk to talk a little bit about that. Talk about the annual raffle, which is happening right now. We win a mini mode. What happened here? So around the there we go. I've got I had Facebook and the volume was on Facebook. Oh, sorry about that. My bad. So you couldn't hear anything. Okay, but. Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Michelle Moog Kusa. We're going to talk about things like the original Moog, which she just had at the museum, and I got to see it. Look at that. That's the first one he ever had with a keyboard. That's it, folks. That's the first one. And this is from the Moogseum, right? And there's all kinds of fun stuff that happened here in Asheville at this museum. But we're going to talk to her. We're going to have some fun talking about weird music. So that's my other life, doing the interviews. Thanks for checking that out. Let's answer a couple quick questions, and I'm out of here. Raymond has a friend in Curitiba. Okay. I don't know where that is. Is that Brazil? They locked down for a week, owned for a week. 1 week lockdown is not enough, exactly. Sour and pickled speeds up digestion, of course, yeah. It optimizes digestion, I would say, rather, yeah. Sweet and sugar slows it down. The restaurant American diet is upside down. Yep, it's horrible. Thank you, Sharon. Exactly. Bassam says, hey, I got Miller Lite, so I'm covered. Yeah, you're right. It is fermented. Sharon, apple cider vinegar. I just add it to meals. It's one of my go-to salad dressings. I love a huge salad, and I just powerhouse that salad with half an avocado, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. Usually I keep it raw, but if I've got some lightly pan-fried tempeh, kind of one of our favorite staple proteins. So inexpensive too. I just bought some last night. It's on sale, $2.49 for Light Life. I forget the size of it, how many ounces, but it's something like a 50 or 60 grams of protein serving. Incredible stuff. So that, I'll have that. That's the cooked food that I'll taper off. But my salad dressing is often extra virgin olive oil, apple cider vinegar. We're done here. Sometimes I'll mix some and put like some garlic and herbs and stuff in there. But usually I just pour a little olive oil, a dash of sea salt, and then apple cider vinegar. that's it. I just have it all the time on raw food. Rejuvelac, thank you, Scott. Yes, Rejuvelac is the liquid that's from making wheatgrass. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Wheatgrass is amazing. Nadia, thanks. Thanks for being here. Pick up on the raw chat. Yes. Awesome. Love you too. Chase those kids out for your lawn. Am I hung up? Yes. They said it couldn't happen here. I know. That just got all fucked up because I had my monitor off, so I couldn't hear that. All right, folks. Let's. I had a really fun time with y'all today. I think I have an actual guest next week. Waiting to confirm that. I'm gonna have, because I missed having it earlier. Speaking of raw foods, I haven't talked about specific products in a while. Here's a product I endorse, and I don't get anything for this. I love it because it's one ingredient. Trader Joe's Organic Spirulina. Wow, great stuff. Hats off to Trader Joe's for looking around, seeing what's popular, seeing what's a staple in the plant-based diet, and they have 100 items. I love Trader Joe's because they keep changing. They're always working on packaging. They're always working on cleaning up ingredients, and they have this. As someone who co-owned a natural food store for over a decade, for someone who's been in retail for near 20 years, I'm amazed at one of the things they do. Did you know this? At Trader Joe's, what they do is when you're working at Trader Joe's, you end up in every spot in the store. In other words, when you're hired, and they tell you up front, when you're hired there, you end up being you do cashier work, you do stocking in the produce area, you work on sampling, you work in the dairy and fridge area, you work over in wine and beer, you do cleanup, you sweep and mop, you have a bathroom duty, checking the bathroom for stocking and all that. You work in the back room with receiving and opening the boxes and checking in orders. You work on helping to put together orders. Pretty remarkable. No one else does that I know of. I may be wrong, but I've never heard that actually other places. But it's quite unique, and I think if you didn't know that, it adds to why the folks in Trader Joe are so nice. They're so well-rounded, because if they've been there just a minimum amount of time, they've done it all in the store. So they have a real investment to the. So I love that store, and I've used spirulina for 30 years. I've used every different brand, and I really love the Trader Joe's spirulina. I highly recommend this for all the things we're always talking about, folks. Look at the ingredients in there. Nothing. Not even any harmless starch, cornstarch or something to hold it together. Just spirulina. And spirulina is, we're going to talk about this because I always talk about it in the raw foods diet, and I love it. But it's a source of iron, vitamin A, vitamin B complex, omega fatty acids. It's an algae, so it falls somewhere between plant, animal, fungus. It's none of them. It's an algae. It's its own thing. And it's basically a very simple organism that floats in the top of water and does photosynthesis. Okay, it creates chlorophyll, or its main component is chlorophyll. It's dark green, and it's as you know, chlorophyll is very close to hemoglobin in our blood, and is a very, very healthy component for human beings. So I'm going to close off by having my little dose of spirulina. People often ask, "What are you on, Andre? What the fuck are you on?" I'm just, when things are going well, I'm just on life. I'm high on life. But I used to get high on all kinds of other stuff. But I'll probably have a drink later. But I haven't been drinking much at all lately. But I'm high often on spirulina. I take spirulina with ginseng, which is awesome. So we're just going to have some now. How many am I having? 6 of them. I usually have 6 or 7. And on the road, on tour, this is a tour staple. And so inexpensive, incredible protein source. They're using this in Africa and India because you can grow it just on water. And it's dried, scooped up. I'm sorry, the other way around. Grown on water, scooped up, dried, and then it could be used as a powder or pressed into tablets. They find that the Aztecs used spirulina and other blue-green algae, things like chlorella and other things like that. So algae coming back into the human diet is one of the things I want to talk about a lot because it's a powerhouse. You know, I just had, let's see, what did I just have? About 2.5 grams of protein. Not much, but just that's, actually, starts the count happening, and you don't need that much protein per day. But I had 100% of my vitamin A, and then some, and I had about 9 or 10% of my required iron, and only about 25, 30 milligrams of sodium, no fat, no cholesterol, no carbs. So it's a simple supplement. Anything you see that's green, any of these naked juices or these shakes that you can buy, these powders, Spiritine's a popular one, any of those things. Spirulina is everywhere. You might not know, but I urge people to look into it, read about it. It's one of the perfect foods, like mother's milk and like eggs. By perfect food, quote unquote, I mean a food that has pretty much a full spectrum of your vitamins, including the fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K. That's, you don't pick up on those in every types of foods. But eggs, spirulina, and mother's milk, we started with perfect food. Makes sense. And you find B vitamins, you find minerals, you find essential fatty acids, you find, all kinds of things like iron and vitamin A, D, E, K, other vitamins, amino acids, all kinds of minerals. Pretty tough to find all of that in one food. And you can look that up. You can back me up on that. I can back it up if you want evidence. Spirulina is heavy, as are all the blue-green algae. Chlorella is pretty amazing too, and the Klamath blue-green algae and all that stuff. But I think this is the one that whatever brand, doesn't have to be Trader Joe's. Anyway, that closes out. Hopefully it gave you some inspiring ideas. Hopefully some things to think about. Let's eat some more raw food as we get more and more meatless. Better for the environment, less energy requirements. It's lower on the food chain, and better for you. Uncooked food that's alive and has its enzymes in it. If we could just up that percentage, we're doing better things for ourselves. Okay, Meg Donahue Kelly, what's up? Love seaweed. Have not tapped algae. Not okay. We'll do. Oh wow, Meg, you're not a spirulina baby. Wow. Spirulina, that's perfect for you. You love to work out. You love to run. You love to be by the beach. Spirulina is your friend. Check it out. Grab some over at Dean's or Whole Foods up on 35 or something. You got a lot of great places there in the Jersey Shore. But spirulina is, for someone that's super busy too, as I know you are, it's great because you can just kind of say, oh man, let me just, grab a shake and 5 or 6 spirulina tablets, and you really have a great sustained energy. I'll talk about it next week, but there's a product from Pure Planet called Ginseng Plus, and it's ginseng and American spirulina. American ginseng, sorry. Ginseng and spirulina. And that's pretty mind-blowing for energetic people, athletic people. All right, folks, thank you so much. Again, this has really been a great power hour or two. And I got to run. We will talk next time we do this, but maybe see you at one of my other streams coming up this week. Lots of love to you for being part of this. And keep on saving the animals and expanding your meatless life.